So after starting the year off 7-0, still undefeated through the first 7 weeks of the season, we are officially at our bye week, which is the toughest week for a user in a user league because you have to wait the full 24 to 48 hours, however long advance is, before you get to see any game action. So taking a look at the weekly awards, you got AR in there who had another massive week. 7 for 8 passing, 272 pass yards, 3 passing TDs, 12 carries, 127 yards rushing, 3 rushing TDs. So a massive week for him through the air and on the ground. And already this week, you can see the Giants, which is a user, beat the Eagles 48-36. Jalen Hurts had a monstrous game, 435 yards passing, 3 TDs. Derrick Henry, which is a user-controlled team, 13 carries for 149 yards, 2 TDs, massive week. And also, you had James Cook, 18 carries, 149 yards, 2 TDs, another user-controlled team. And the Cleveland Browns fell short to the New England Patriots, who the Patriots is a computer team. The Browns are a user team. They fell short 20-17, and he's actually been having a really decent year. Jonathan Taylor, 15 carries, 224 yards, 3 TDs, a monstrous week for him as well. Cardinals ended up knocking off the Green Bay Packers 24-21. That's a battle of 2 users right there. Nick Bolton had a massive game for the Chiefs as well. So a lot of big time action going on through this bye week. And we're going to go ahead, and since we don't have anything else to do, I'll probably go ahead and keep my training on here. Normally I crop it out or edit it out when I'm editing up the episodes, but I'll probably go ahead and keep the footage of training this week because there's nothing else we can do. There's nothing else we can do this week besides training and going ahead and upgrading these abilities for Coach Prime. So we're going to go ahead, since we have a ton of points, well over 300 points, we're going to go ahead and unlock the full tiers of a lot of these, the player development and a lot of other ability traits for the coach. So we'll focus on that, and then if we have anything left over, we'll go focus on like personnel or something. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and sit up here and max out all of this stuff. I'm not even really paying attention to reading what these things do. I'm paying attention to the position that it's targeting, like offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, cornerback. I need that all developed. I've been talking all season long about how I need offensive linemen developed. Of course, wide receivers and tight ends as well, cornerbacks as well. Taking a peek at everything else. I guess we still got to wait till we get Prime to a certain level tier before we can unlock those other things. But yeah, so maxing out all of this scouting ability. Definitely want to have scouting maxed out. So when we do go to bring in draft prospects, we can get the full extent of the experience around scouting those guys and unlocking certain attributes for them as well. So we're down to 30 points just like that. We ran through nearly 400 points. Let's see. What do I want to unlock the most of right here? Let's see. Active tiers, scout squad, after school tutor. We got that already maxed. We're going to go ahead and roll with the quarterback development. That seems best suited for us going forward as far as getting AR in position to be developed to the max. So it's time to go ahead and get into this training action. Like I said, I'll go ahead and keep the session of me actually developing these guys. Last year in my Raiders rebuild, I actually did like the first 2 seasons, I think the first 2 seasons. It might have been the first season and a half. I actually kept all of my training activities, and I used those as certain episodes, but it drug out the series. And I didn't feel like people were coming here just to watch me sit up here and do training for full episodes. So I cut it out, and I hadn't heard any complaints about it. So, oh crap. See, I'm talking too much. Go ahead. I'm messing up already out the gate. So, but I hadn't heard any complaints about it. So I went ahead and decided going into this year that I was going to continue to keep cutting out the training activities and just get straight to the game action and then visualize or depict what the player health looked like after the training. So that's all we're going to do here. We're going to go ahead and keep the training for this week. And then following weeks when we got games, I'll just make sure that I cut it out or clip it out when I'm editing the footage going forward. So for Lele, again, we're working on building an offensive line. Part of the reason why I wanted to go ahead and make sure I maxed out offensive line player development, because we want to make sure we develop these guys to the max as soon as possible. Because remember, at the beginning of this franchise, I went straight in free agency, and one of the main things that I targeted was getting a lot of these young guys that were 1 year, 2 years pro, a couple, maybe 3 years pro, but had a bunch of potential. And I signed them up throughout the season on long-term deals for 7 years, very minimal cash. And we got to make sure we, what's the word that I'm looking for? We got to make sure that we, I can't even think of the word that I'm looking for right now, but we want to make sure we make good on our profit. We want to make sure we make good on our development of these guys. That's the word that I'm looking for. We want to make sure we make good on our investment. So yeah, we spent low cash on these guys and they have low overalls, but we feel like we could develop them into big time offensive lineman prospects. And if we can get them to like the 80s, possibly 90s, that would be huge, because we'd have them for the entirety of this franchise. And because they're on 7-year deals and they're not costing us anything. So we have to make sure we invest a lot of time into developing this offensive line, because we want to get them up there as high as possible, as soon as possible, especially when you're playing in a league full of users, because 9 times out of 10, their defensive line and their linebacking core is full of speed and they know how to get after you. So you're not going to get very far having a offensive line that's in the 60s and low 70s. So that's why we're focusing on building up those guys. And we're also focusing on developing guys like Isaiah Bond and focusing on developing our defensive line as well. So if you notice in during my training or through my training, the main groups that I'm focusing on is the offensive line and defensive line. If you can lock down the trenches, if you can control the trenches, everything else is gravy from there. So that's why a majority of the guys, I'm not really focused on developing my position guys, because I can do that just by playing the game and winning awards with them weekly. Those are the easiest guys to develop. The guys that aren't the easiest to develop are the guys that are battling out in the trenches. So that's why we're focusing on, again, the offensive line, people like Jedrick Wells, Falele, Robinson, so on and so forth. And then on the flip side, the defensive side, Amari Barno, Adebawore, etc., Sam Williams, etc., etc. And then I might sprinkle somebody like an Isaiah Bond in there as well. So far so good with this week's training. Normally I tend to mess up a lot with this offensive lineman training drill. I tend to overshoot sometimes and have to keep restarting. But so far I've only had to do it once. So it's a good look right here, right now. So that's what, 3 down? Yeah, we got 3 down. We got 3 to go. Isaiah Bond, Adebawore, and then Amari Barno. So we're going to go ahead and knock out Isaiah Bond right quick. Go ahead and get him developed. Knock out his training. And Isaiah Bond has been having a monstrous season for us so far. And I'm focusing in on him during training, because even though we have been having a monster year with Isaiah Bond, he isn't necessarily the primary target. Primary target is BTJ. And even when he's not the primary target, we're focusing on getting Tootin the ball. So we want to make sure we get Isaiah Bond the extra reps where the extra reps are available, and that just so happens to be in training. So we're going to keep making sure we target Isaiah Bond for training. And once we get him developed where we need him to be, then we won't need, like, if I can get Isaiah Bond up there into the 80s before the season's end, then I won't have to really worry about developing him like Say So. Got gold already. Yes, that's what we needed. That's what we needed. So just like that, it's nothing. And the drill that I used to do was the red zone, red zone attack? Is that the name of it? I can't remember. Because it's been so long because I don't do it anymore because of the way they have it set up this year in Madden, which is garbage because you'll get wide open and then the quarterback will throw the ball into like the nosebleed section. Like, really? Come on now. So I specifically do wide receiver battle for my wide receivers. I don't do anything else because it's not even worth it. Wide receiver battle is easy. So now it's time for the trench work with Adebawore. And now this could get difficult. I tend to mess up a lot on this year because now they made sure to make it tough when you have a low overall player. They make sure that you have to work for that. Like, see right there, I just barely got that one off. So it's been hard with players like Adebawore and lower rated players that end up having to run into my best offensive lineman. Okay, there we go. That's a good rep right there. That's a good rep. We might just get gold on the first try. If so, that's a plus because this whole season, this drill for Adebawore has been a struggle. There we go. Let's go. Hell yeah. First try, we got gold. Let's get it. Yes, sir. So now all we got left now is Amari Barno, and then we good. We locked in for the season or for the week, and then we can go ahead and move forward because we're about ready to advance. I waited to the last minute before I decided to do any of my bye week activities because it was the bye week. It wasn't like I really had anything real going on. So I decided to wait till everybody else was done playing their games, and then I could do my bye week activities so we could go ahead and advance forward. So far, so good with Amari Barno. We got a good first rep with Barno. We got a good first rep. Let's see if we can get this second rep knocked out. Come on. Come on. Oh my God. I'm surprised they let us get that off. Come on, one more rep. One more rep, and then we in the clear. Then we out of here. Come on, Barno. Let's go. Come on. I hate when they make me go past the target. Thank you. Give me that. Give me that. Let's go. Gold on the first try for Barno as well. Let's get it. And just like that, we are done with training. I'm surprised I didn't have to work as hard as I typically have to work. Like I said, there's a bunch of times that I end up having to restart some of these drills just to make sure I end up getting gold. But nonetheless, we didn't have to do that this go around. So all we got to do is simulate this training, verify that everybody is good, and then we are out of here. So looks typical. Everybody's healthy. The only players that aren't really fully healthy are the practice squad players. So that's going to do it for this episode. I'm about to advance, but we'll get to next week's action on the next episode of this Jaguars franchise rebuild. But as always, if you're here for the first time or you're returning and you haven't liked or subscribed already, please do so. Click that notification tab so you can stay up to speed with more of this Jaguars rebuild as well as other Madden 26 content. Again, I appreciate you all for tuning in. That's been my time. Till next time.